In this video, you can see how my world progresses, but you also get to see the crazy adventures along the way. I had to bounce back from an awful hardcore death in my previous world. I had to recover while falling into the void, and I had to defeat not only mobs, but also game-breaking glitches on my way to day 5000. You can download my world on Patreon if you want to support me, or you can get my starter house schematic there for free. All yours, 0 doubloons. Grab your snack, sit back, and enjoy the movie. Okay, let's go. This is going to be an epic journey. What is this spawn? I think I might be stuck here. Never mind, I can get some dirt and get out. I seriously spawned next to the only village that doesn't have any hay bales? That's such a scam. This cave looks like the perfect day one base. Let's get geared up. Alright, I have all the basics and sweet dreams, but skipping nights is for noobs. So let's get a move on. I want to find a cool place for a starter house now. And the best way to find cool terrain is flying around in Spectator. Oh, I can do that? Okay, then we have to find an Elytra. That's how you pronounce it. I didn't know either. Anyway, you can get an Elytra in the end. So that means I have to beat the game first. Let me just make some armor. Hello? There's no more iron here, I guess. I guess I'll just have a bucket for now. Oh, it's morning already. I've been wanting to check out that ravine I spawned into. That's what I thought. There's a massive cave down there. I can even see a mine shaft. Let's get the iron there. Yeah, I'm not jumping down there. I'll just make my way down here and build a staircase. I found a good amount of iron. Let's just put the stairs in place and go make some armor. There's a strange man in my bed. I'm sorry, sir. I'm not really into that sort of thing. He's got a big nose on him, though. You know what they say of a man with a big nose? Alright, I found a lot of iron. Let's make a full kit. Your boy is ready to go into the nether. Now I just need to find a lava pool. I think there's a good chance we can find one down in the cave. I found these really cool shaders that make ores glow. Link down in the description. Oh, there's the lava pool I need. Yo, I found my first diamonds. Hang on. I found a mine shaft. Oh, there's more diamonds here. I'm taking this golden apple and more diamonds. Alright, I've made it to the lava pool. Let me just make a portal. Here we go. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I have seen better nether spawns. Let's get some food first, because all I have right now is rotten flesh. Oh god! It's a little busy down here. We're fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. Get out of here, you creep. Okay, I'm up to the surface for a bit. Okay, I got all of it. Back to the nether. Hold on. This is the first solid cluster of diamonds I found. Here we go. Okay. I'm an idiot. I got caught up looking for more diamonds, and now my food is gone. And I need more. Let me just zoom over this ice river to see what we can find. There's a ruined portal here. That's like the gold blocks for piglin trades? What the heck are these boots? That's insane. Fall damage is like the scariest thing right now. I'm taking those. I found a village. Time to steal their entire food supply. I'm sure they'll survive the winter. Okay, I'm on my way back to the cave. But I found another ruined portal. You know I'm taking the gold here. Okay, made it back home. I got a ton of food now and almost a stack of gold. It's time to go into nether and get blaze rods. I'll get this enderman in a boat. Yes, ender pearl. Alright, 2 for 2. That's my escape option if things go wrong here. I think I'm just going to dig until I find some open terrain. Still suck. I don't like all this lava. Okay, warped forest can be good for ender pearls. Well, it's the smallest forest I've seen though. Let's check this ruined portal. Take the obsidian. Ooh, fire protection pans. Let's turn off the shaders though. This lava is way too bright. No way, check it out. The base of a fortress pillar. Ooh, I hope this piglin will trade me a fire res potion, because I do not want to find places without it. Okay, he got me 2 potions and 3 pearls. Let's drink one and tower up to the fortress. Ooh, I should have seen this from below, but the blaze spawner is right here. Yo, what the heck? Double blaze spawner? Never seen this in the world myself, that's crazy. Oh god, there's so many. I'm just closing this off so we don't get any wither skeletons joining the fight. Yo, this is too intense. I'm out of here. I'm out of here. I got 10 rolls. It's epic. Let's get back out of the nether through that ruined portal. Okay, I'm in a cave. That's interesting. I'll just get to the surface, but then we have to figure something out. This is where my adventure becomes a little different than any other hardcore world on YouTube. I've decided not to use coordinates from the F3 screen. Why? Well, if you know your coordinates and the coordinates of where you want to go, then every journey becomes a straight line. That's kind of boring, so I'm gonna look for something I recognize instead. Took a bit of running around, but I think I've seen this ice river before. Yo, there's XP orbs on the ground. I've been here before. I think that means that if we go through the forest here, and sure enough, by the time morning came around, I managed to make my way home. I have blaze rods now. I just need to get ender pearls for ender eyes, and then I can find the stronghold. So I cut down trees, traded sticks for emeralds with a Fletcher, and then emeralds for pearls with a cleric, and we're almost there. Okay, here we go. Let me set the stage here. This moment, sweaty hands. I had just lost my 2-year hardcore world a few days before, and 1,000 people were watching my live stream as I entered the end. Fighting the dragon in hardcore is always scary, but this one hit different. Okay, let's do this. Shaders off, focus on. I just gotta get up on the island and shoot the crystals. Oh god, my aim. I'm sweating. Focus up, I got this. There we go. Okay, that was the last crystal. Yo, these endermen are mad. Okay, she's perching. Just wait here. Oh god. Oh, there's way too many. Get out of here, get out of here, get out of here. Okay, it's good. She launched them. Yo, what the heck? He just ran into my line of sight. Like an idiot, I ran out to the edge of the island and placed down my water so the enderman couldn't hit me. Bad choice. No! Fireball on the water! Oh, I gotta kill this guy. I gotta kill this guy. Okay. Get my water back. Need to heal. Yo, she's getting low. One last perch. This is it. This is it. Yes! 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 As the dragon died, I stepped into the portal back to the overworld. And then when the credits rolled, it hit me. This was the beginning of a new hardcore adventure. The last one was truly insane. And now I had to do one better. This is going to be an interesting journey. The next day, my adventure continued on stream. I forgot to record the raw footage, and my hair made me look like a much younger, but mostly much pinker Simon Cowell. But I got a looting 3-sword, so it was all good. I hunted creepers for gunpowder, and made it back to the end to get my elytra. So let's skip past the basics and get to the interesting stuff, shall we? I bridged over the void backwards with cobble slabs, towered up to the first end ship I came across, killed the shulker guarding it, and got my elytra. After another hour or so looting end cities for all the gear I needed, I made my way out of the end. Okay, so now it's time to find a location for my starter house. Well, actually, almost. Just to make sure my progress was sustainable and I could fly around as much as I wanted, I got myself a mending villager, I built an enderman farm to max out my enchantments and repair my gear, and I made a mob farm with a sugarcane farm on top to get gunpowder and paper for rockets. Yes, this thing is made out of dirt. What do you mean it's ugly? What the heck, dude? 1v1 me, bro! PvP Legacy versus 8 and I'll kick your sorry about that. I've been spending too much time hanging out with Clan Pierce. He's a terrible influence. Actually, I made it out of dirt, so I can take it down when I don't need it anymore. We have everything I need for now. Let's find a starter house location. I've been flying around for a while now, and I just came across this thing. I've never had a witch farm. That could be a cool base location, but not really the best starter house spot. Yo, what? Look at this crazy thing. That's the biggest, goofiest flying rock I've ever seen in game. Yeah, that seals it. This is my starter house spot. Watch this. Okay, I know that went by super fast, and I love this build, but it's one of the smallest things we do all video, so I can't linger too long. The first building project in my new world, you thought I would take it easy? Hell no! I've made a flying starter house with fireworks. Suck it, Emerald Man. The house was made in survival, but I made a light Medica world edit schematic for it last week. You can get it for free on my Patreon, links in the description. Let's take a moment because we're moving through the progress like lunatics. But that's because I really want to get to the good stuff. This took 80 days, and I'm going to spend 4,500 days building one insane base. Let's get that project started. Okay, if we want to use that witch hut for a farm, we will need a perimeter around it. Which is basically a big ugly hole in the ground that makes your farms work well. Ew! I have a better idea. Step 1, I'll make a perimeter first. Step 2, then I'll cover it up with a big custom mountain. I will build all my farms underneath in step 3. And then step 4, make a cool looking base on top of it. Easy! So step 1, make a big ugly hole in the ground. Hold up, I just noticed something. There's not just one witch hut here. There's 2 of them. Okay, bigger perimeter, bigger base. Let's make an outline. I'll just build it with dirt up in the air. And then if I place regular ice blocks on there, and break them with my fortune pickaxe, that should make it really easy to see the project area. Nice. So that's where the mega base goes. I'm removing all the trees from the area, but I think we have to do a side quest first, or we're gonna run into trouble later. You see, there is a small issue. This is not a flat area, and if we send flying machines out, they're gonna fly into mountains and blow themselves up. Luckily, we can solve it by mining out the mountains, so I want to get a beacon, and while we're in the nether, let's actually get some ancient debris for netherite armor first. It took me like all of 40 minutes of TNT mining, and if you ignore the skin, it looked pretty good. I'm heading right back into nether though, because now I need 3 wither skulls. With looting 3, these guys have about a 5% chance to drop their skull. So on average, we would need to kill about 60 of them for 3 skulls. Oh nice, I already got one! Here's another 3. Okay, what the heck? 2 for 6? Crazy. There's another group here. I bet these guys give me a 3rd skull. Oh, no way! What the heck? 3 for 10? I'm a bit of a nerd, so I just put that in a binomial probability calculator, and there's only a 1.15% chance of getting 3 or more in 10 tries. So that's like really, really rare. But it's not quite dream rare, so I don't need to hire any scholars to defend my honor. Let's fight a wither now. Oh boy, doing all these things for the first time in a new world is low-key kinda scary. This smite sword absolutely demolished his wither, so that wasn't too difficult. For the next part of the plan, I think I've spotted an ore vein in the cave where we first started, and if we can mine that up with fortune, we might just be able to get a full beacon out of it. Okay, that totally worked. Combined with the resources from the end busting, I got a beacon set up, so I mined out the mountains in the swamp, and with those gone, we are ready to start deconstruction. But there is a small problem. You see, a swamp is it's pretty wet around here, and TNT in water, it doesn't work too well. So we need to find a solution to remove the water from the swamp first, and there's only really one way to do it. I just gotta go and find something. There it is, Ocean Monument. Clearing these is easy. Drink water breathing, stab spiky fish, swim around pillar, more of the same, and then hope we get a sponge room. Hey, nice, that gets us started. Loot the gold for good measure, and we're out of here. I went to loot a couple more and found plenty of sponges to get to work. So I went back to the swamp, and it was pretty easy to clear out the surface pools now. There's only the other thing, I still need slimes. Luckily, I can farm those at night. Now, I think we're ready to build up the bombers. The terrain is fine, but my stream chat thought it would be fun to do something else first. And that was a pretty good suggestion. We have been grinding to get the terrain ready, and we still had to complete the end. For the first 20 fights where you defeat the Ender Dragon, every time you kill it, you will open up a new gateway. And we still had 18 of those to open up. So I flew to the stronghold, made my way through the portal, and got into the end. Then I flew to the Enderman farm, to prepare for the end of the world without knowing it. What's about to happen next is pretty insane. To respawn the dragon, you need 4 end crystals, put on the dragon's nest. So I put them in place, and as the respawn animation starts, I fly out to land on one of the gateways. Once I'm there, I realize that I don't have my replay mode on. Now just in case I do something absolutely amazing during the fight, I want to have that clip. So I save and quit, leave the game, reload it, and start replay mode. And then I wait. I charge my bow to shoot the first crystal, but nothing happens. There's no dragon. See what is happening? I fly up in the air. It is absolutely silent. And the respawn animation is stuck. For a moment, I'm excited and I think of all the cool builds that I could make with these light beams. But then I realize there's no way out. I go through all my shulker boxes looking if I can make new crystals, but I can't. For every combination, I am one item short. There is no way out of the end. I have no gateway to the overworld and no items to make crystals. That means we're done. So what do you do if you have to retire your hardcore season because of a broken game? Well, you retire it in style. With all the items that I have in the end, I come up with the best base that I can imagine. And just like that, the season ends. Or that's what would have happened if it wasn't for that one person in my stream chat out of 1,400 people that had spotted the way out. When I first towered up to the end island, I used 4 cobblestone to get up there. And with those 4 cobblestone, we could make a piston. Now, you might be wondering, how does a piston get me out of the end? You see, there are end crystals here. So over the next 40 minutes, I pushed 3 of the end crystals down onto the dragon's nest, which just leaves that last one to place. And that set us up for the most suspenseful moment in all of Minecraft. I have no idea if this works. Neither did anybody in my chat. But this was the one shot. There was nothing left to do but hope and place the crystal. And then this happened.
Yes! It works! It actually works! It actually works! We're gonna do this!
I have never lived a more dramatic moment in all of my hours playing Minecraft. I finished the fight by killing the dragon with the piston that had just saved my entire world. And as the dragon died, my escape to the overworld opened up. This fight changed everything. As I respawned in my starter house, I realized that this world was now really special to me. Before I had entered the end, I was excited to start a big project. 2 hours later, everything felt different. This world had just been lost and recovered because of 3 simple things: determination, refusal to give up, and the awesome community of people that I get to share these adventures with. Because of that experience, of losing the world through a fault that wasn't my own, and then recovering it against all odds, I now felt like this Minecraft world is the most special one I will ever have. So let's get to work and turn that feeling into a reality. Alright, I've already removed the mountains and most of the water too, but before we can start building up the flying machines to bank the perimeter, I need to go out and find something. I have to locate a coral reef, because if I can find this, I can get coral fans, and those are part of the bombers. They have a unique hitbox, I think. Anyways, on the way back, I ran into these guys, which was kind of nice, because now I have totems. I wasn't sure if I was gonna get those, but fall damage is a scary thing. Okay, now, most of the flying machines are in place. I just gotta put obsidian around the witch hut so I can find those later, build the remaining couple of bombers, and then let's send them off. This was epic to see. Before my eyes, the entire swamp biome was getting destroyed. We had some hiccups, but mostly a lot of TNT fell out of the sky. Until I had a flat floor. TNT will only fall down 77 blocks, which meant I had to replace the bombers to a lower level and send them off again. During that process, I exposed a lot of diamond ore down below. So I picked that up and got a diamond beacon for free. And with all that work done, we now had step 1 of the plan completed. And that meant it was time to move on to step number 2. This is ugly, so we need to cover it up with a custom mountain. And that's where this amazing place I found comes in. This awesome ice spike mountain is the perfect location for my snow farm, because we just destroyed an entire biome. I want to make something pretty. As for the farm, snow farms are super easy. You need 2 snow blocks and a carved pumpkin. And then if you put the snowman on the corner of a slab, you can easily shovel up all the layers underneath for snowballs. And for snowballs, make a snow block. With the snow block from the farm, I immediately started building up the structure around it. And pretty quickly, I had something that looked kinda nice. But then my snowman got murdered, which continued a rather sad storyline out of my Hardcore Season 1. If you know, you know. After installing a new snowman and finishing the rest of the structure, I had a pretty awesome looking snow farm. Not too shabby. Honestly, building something nice was a huge relief and I felt a lot better, but it is time to focus back up. Because we gotta cover up all of this garbage that I made. Oh my god, this is terrible. I guess I'll just start building an outline. We're making a wireframe here so that I understand the shape of what we're building before fully committing to it. And I swear this guy was having a good time as well. Now, let's talk about why I'm using snow. The thing is, this is a snow block with a snow layer on top, and this is a snow block without. You can't really tell the difference, and they're pretty much the same. But this snow block has 2 snow layers on it. And this one is spawn proof. And that is really important, because we're building a perimeter, so we can't have anything spawning on here. None of this, we need the place to be spawn proof, and this is absolutely the cleanest way to do it. Speaking of cleaning up perimeters, I have badly messed up with the sides of the perimeter here. Now, there is a way to fix it. I'm just going to place walls in front of the sides and then put torches on the back. That works quite well, but I think we can be much faster if we lava cast the walls. This has been used to grief plenty of houses on SMPs, but we're going to use it in a very productive way. So I set up a snow scaffolding all the way around the sides, and then if we put lava here and flow water alongside it, that should clean up the perimeter quite nicely. Okay, that isn't half bad. Now that that is out of the way, there's one more thing we need to do before this is a functional perimeter. I don't have a witch farm yet. So I finished one of the witch farms on this side of the base, and the other one, well, we'll get to it later. Back to the spawn proofing. I'm making good progress. That entire red marked section is done, but I need to get something. The ancient cities were just added and swift sneak, there we go. This is gonna make my life so much easier. Oh god, it's like I'm speed bridging. And in no time, the mountain was pretty much done. There was just one thing. I've been trying to keep track of which places are spawn proof and which aren't, and it really didn't work. So I came up with this magical texture pack that shows us which ones still need to be done, and that should do it. Now, all the spawn proof areas are done, but the mountain has become a bit of an eyesore in the swamp around it. So I'm just gonna drag these snowmen through the swamp to get that sorted. That's a lot better. And just like that, the first 2 steps of our plan are now done. That means it's time to build a base up there, and then add all the farms that we need underneath. We're finally getting to the good part. Now, I know what you're thinking. This flat mountaintop, it's ugly, right? Well, that's because it's just a foundation, guys. Bear with me. First, I need to get some blocks for frameworking though. I've been looking for a while, and I finally found a desert. So we'll just get a bunch of sand over here, and then make my way back to start construction. I've set up a couple farms under here already. One of which is the wool farm and this dye farm, and that will get us light blue wool. Now, I'll just put some markers up here so I can properly understand the shape, which is important, because let's be honest, it's a little limited. There's not that much room to build with. I think this is a good start though. Then I'll just start building up with some sand. The cool thing with sand is you can remove it really easily, and putting all of it here gives me a really good idea of what the castle is going to look like. Because with this one, I want to get it right the first time. Okay, I'll put this one over here and then fill that in. That's a really good start. I like that. At this point, I felt more connected to this new world than to the old one. So it was time for Season 1 Loony to die, and Season 2 Loony to take his place. To underline that fact, I changed my Minecraft skin. But as poetic justice would have it, it happened in a moment where I was about to venture into the end to get something. And for the second time, the game tricked me to think that I lost my world. As is the way with these stories, it all starts pretty harmless. I just need to get some more sand to finish the castle framework. So I set off to the desert and shoveled my little heart out. Just to realize that I didn't have any shulker boxes anymore. The farms under the mountain were filling up my initial shulker box supply. So I had a choice to make. Either I could go end busting for more shulker boxes, which is kinda cool, but it's also a little disruptive. The other option is building a shulker box farm. Now, there's an easy way to do this in the end, but I want all my farms at the base. So we're gonna do this differently. I just have to get a shulker and bring him to the overworld. Can't be that hard. All we gotta do is just go to the end. And, what could possibly go wrong there? I mean, there's no way that we haven't had our worst end adventure, right? Well, I wouldn't be so sure about that. You know what's scarier than bugs? The void. But I wasn't too worried about it. I had my elytra. I was flying into the end. I had plenty of rockets. I was fine. It took a little while until I found a city that had a gateway right next to it, but eventually I did. So I found a shulker, put him in a boat, and then I built a little ice pathway to transport the shulker to the gateway. I didn't really see any dangers. I had my elytra. I was fine. So as a little goofball, I started building up the ice pathway and just trusted the process. I mean, seriously, what's the risk here? Like, let's go over the worst case scenario. I get in the boat, I slip it off my 1 block wide pathway, press shift, get out, and fly up. There's not much to it. So I went. I built my little ice pathway, lined it up with the gateway, and now I just had to build a small little landing platform on the bottom. I mean, it's not that hard, and I'm not gonna fall into the void, it's fine. So I jump off, I slowly glide towards the gateway, I have my ice block at the ready, I just gotta place it at the edge. And I slip right on through. That's a little bit of a setback because I don't use F3 and I have no idea where we just were. Let's just try a gateway. I think it was this one, and then maybe we can find the place that I was just at. I couldn't. I absolutely couldn't. I had no idea where it was. But then I found something better. Guys, check this out. This is one of my best finds in the end, legitimately. There's a city here. With a gateway right on top? What? Yo, that's insane. Okay, that makes this entire process so much easier. I just gotta get a new shulker and get it into this gateway, which is 1,000 times easier. Also, I just made a map of this place so I can find it back later, because if I ever want to build an end project, this has gotta be one of the coolest places to do it. Okay, let's get this thing done. I'll just remove the roof of this tower, and then there's shulkers right under me, so we should be able to get one in there. It's a little hectic around here. I got one on the top, but we need to seal the bottom here. Oh god. Okay, got it. Let me just fly on back. I got a little ice pathway, and I'm just gonna try and hoist this guy up here. Okay, got him on a fishing rod. Yo! Let it work. Yo, that's sick. Okay. Got him in a boat. Let's just get into the gateway. Oh god, what did I do? No. Gotta get back in there. No. Oh god. It spun the boat around. I tried this so many times by now. Okay, finally. The extended platform did it. Okay, now just stay in. Okay, I got the... Ooh, it's taking damage. Okay, I just gotta go. Since the shulker took damage, I figured I had to go through the gateway as soon as possible. But then I took damage myself, which threw me off a little bit. And that's where things got really weird. As I went through the gateway, I saw nothing, just void, for like 2 seconds. And then I paused the game. I unpaused it and I heard wind sounds. This sounds like I'm flying, but I can't see anything. And then it hits me. If I'm falling, I'm gonna tumble into the void under the island. This is scary stuff. I unpause one more time to see if it loads. More wind sounds, but nothing. And then I remember something. If you unpause your game, press F3 and shift, it will pause without the menu, and usually the world around you loads in. I'm gonna try that. And that's when I see this. What the heck? What is going on? I'm already under the end island? Oh my god. If I fall any further, I'm gonna start taking void damage. But the game is paused. I have time to think. You start taking void damage as soon as you get under the end island pillars. I have a couple more blocks. I gotta unpause, open up my elytra, spam rockets to fly away. Okay, here we go. What the hell was that? This is the most bugged out thing I've ever seen. And then I see it. Press left shift to dismount. I'm still in a boat. I don't know if I have enough time to fix this. Oh god. Okay. I get myself together, mentally prepare, because I know I have only one chance to fix this. Here we go. What? Whoa. The moment I pressed shift, the game understood where everything was, and all of a sudden I'm back on the end spawning platform. Oh my god. The scare was unreal. It turns out that if the game thinks you're in the void, you are gonna die. Even if you're not technically in the void. I hate this dimension. I'm out of here. Oh my god. As I rushed back to the overworld, I completely forgot that I was trying to collect a shulker. My end dimension is so broken, it's unreal. We still gotta get that thing though. Before making my way back into the end dimension, I made some splash potions of healing because the shulker took a little bit of damage, and at this point I was not going to risk it dying. No way. Okay, I'll make my way through the nether, back to the end. Now we just gotta get it to the portal. Dude, get out! Still looks super glitchy. Alright, yoink it up here. This is going well. And... oh, he's stuck in the portal? What? How do we... I'm just gonna try and shoot it. Okay, I think that did it. God, this whole adventure was way too intense, but I think it all worked out. Let's go check in the overworld if we can find that shulker. I'll just fly over to the world spawn. There. Yes, exactly where I expected it. Okay, now this is the easy part. All I gotta do here is transport this shulker over a 4,000 block long, 1 block wide ice road that I made all the way to the main base. And after everything I've just gone through, I'm just gonna pull this off. No worries. So I started boating. And I kept on boating. I zoomed in my camera for maximum stability and I just kept going. And the morning turned to afternoon. The afternoon turned to night. And I just stayed on the road. I absolutely crushed it. Right up until I made it all the way to the base and still fell off. I don't even care. I'm calling this a win. Let's get a couple more splash potions of healing because this guy just hit himself on the road. Just yeet those in his face. And then I'm gonna break the boat and... what? Where'd he go? Oh, he's right there. Yo, he just teleported because of the rain. He's inside anyway. We're good. I just gotta get him in a boat again. There we go. Oh man. This guy's put me through so much trouble. Now I'll just land him over here. Okay. Let's just build up that farm. I need a bunch of snowmen to aggro the shulkers, and then we need all this scaffolding for them to teleport around. And I made my own dropper system. It's like really smart. It absolutely broke the farm. So I had to fix that, get rid of this guy, and then with the shulker in his final position, the whole thing worked. It just worked. I just had to kill the rogue shulkers on the outside, but after that, I had a working shulker farm. My mountain was becoming more industrial, more high-tech, and that meant it was time to make a super smelter next. This design is made by Tango Tech and it's insane. I added bamboo farms to either side to fuel it, and now I can smelt whatever I want, whenever I want. And trust me, we're gonna need it. Okay, so much for the Industrial Revolution. It's time to get the blocks together for the castle now. I mined some diorite, got polished diorite from the masons, went to a stony peaks biome for calcite, and then finally we completed it with cobblestone, stripped birch, and some sandstone variants. Now, that's a good start, but these are only the foundational blocks, because we still need some colors and details. So for those, I'm gonna add some amethyst blocks, which stand out nicely, and then I wanted some green blocks to finish it off, so we're gonna add prismarine. Now, I don't want to bore you to death with the details of how I got all of those, because most of them are pretty straightforward, but the prismarine was kind of a project. Normally you would get a guardian farm to get that, but I just stole an ocean monument, and now I have a hole in the ocean. We might have to fix that later. Okay, I've collected all the resources, let's go build this castle. For step 1, I replaced all the sand walls with the more permanent walls. They're only 1 block thick, and they start out with cobblestone, gradient into diorite, polished diorite, and then finally calcite. And then on top I made some deep slate roofs. For the next step, I put the sandstone and birch walls in place for the upper part of the castle. And this is starting to look like an actual build. Now some details with prismarine on the ramparts here. Okay, that's good stuff. And for the next step, we need to do the tower roofs. I started out with some temporary blocks, but these honestly look great. So let's just build them with deep slate right away. And that just leaves the main tower. Let's build all the way up here. Oh, that's good. And then put some amethyst in there for just a little bit of an accent. And with that tower done, we now have a base that goes all the way from bedrock to Y319. We literally can only go one block higher. This is epic. Okay, that's some really good progress, but this is still a very simple castle and we have a long way to go before it doesn't look so out of place. First off, the castle doesn't really have an entrance yet, so I'm just gonna use some wool to figure out the shape. You know what? I think I got it. Let's just build the full thing. Okay, that looks a lot better than it did. Now, I want to have a big window here on the side, and then we need another room right underneath there. I'm going to put a deep slate floor in there, and then maybe we have some amethyst accents here. You know what? I think this works really well. Okay, I've been doing a lot of frame working for the last little while, so a strong urge came over me to build a pink tree before pink trees were added to the game. Okay, it took me forever to find this, but here's a flower forest and it has alliums. These give you magenta dye, which actually looks much better than pink. And a magenta wool block has a matching coral block. So I flew over to the coral reef again to get some of those as well. With all the resources gathered up, I made the trunk of the tree with spruce logs, started adding the canopy, realized that pink wool actually looked much better than magenta wool, and then I started filling up the entire inside with water before adding the coral and some glass on the outside to add a bit of texture. Actually, that looks amazing. Once the tree was in place, I started adding details to the garden around it, and before long, I had a proper rooftop garden. At this point, I was pretty tempted to decorate the entire exterior of the castle, but that would kind of defeat the point of the base. After all, I had to build all of the farms first before we spent all that time decorating. That way, we get pretty much infinite resources from all the farms without having to AFK. Still, adding the details to the garden kind of made me feel that the rest of the world was lacking in a big way. So before continuing the big grinding project under the mountain, I spent a little bit of time decorating the village next to it. First, I built a snow frame for a windmill, and once it looked right, I replaced it with the actual building. Next up, I put a small cottage next to it with a cool little flower garden, and then I felt like I had to go back to the garden and properly finish it. After all, the inside wasn't quite done. I should have skipped it. I so should have skipped it. What happens next is one of the dumbest things that happened during the entire base construction. If somebody would have told me that building an axolotl tank would take me 6 hours, I would have thought they were crazy. But look what happened when I did this. I just mined out one block. No big deal, it's just one block. It was a big deal. An entire flood streamed down the mountain. I lost so many snow layers. This was horrible. In an attempt to salvage the situation, I flew out to an ocean monument to get more sponges. Flew back with the lowest render distance. And I tried to pull it off. There was no way. There was no way. That took me 16,000 snow layers that I had to place again. Oh my god. I gotta be more careful with water up here. Once I had cleaned up my mess from the giant flood, I started focusing on completing the castle. The most important thing that still needed to happen was completing the pathway, and that meant I had to add a gatehouse on the side with a pathway going through it, then a giant ice cave that went through the interior of the mountain, and then finally, a wonky tower that spiraled the pathway up to the ice cave. And with that, I was ready to celebrate 2000 days in the world. With the addition of the little village and the castle up top, the mountain didn't look so out of place anymore. But before we could celebrate, I wanted to add one more thing. In my Season 1 world, I had always celebrated milestones with epic fireworks shows. And here, well, I wasn't quite ready. The starter house looked cool, but I thought I could do much better. So I added a redstone computer and many firework dispensers all over the castle that together made for this epic fireworks show. The first time we pulled that lever, I was kind of worried that my game was gonna lag out, but it all worked, and god, that show was epic. Once we got to the 2000 day milestone, I had an epic castle on the mountain. I had shuffled the plan around a little bit, but progress was being made. Now it's time to tackle that giant cave underneath. Okay, let's take a look at that cave. We have this entrance here at the side, a floating storage room, a firework computer, some farms scattered around. This needs a lot of work, but it also needs something else. It needs a bit of practice. Because when I started the world, I said that one of my biggest goals for the series is getting better with redstone. But my redstone trading arc wasn't going to start at the base. It was going to start at the Hall of Fame. This place is pretty cool, because whenever I stream I carry a book around me where I put your names in there to be part of the world. And we've collected a lot of books over the months. But right now, I was going to put a special book there. This is the 2000 Days book. I've written a lot of names in there during the 2000 Days celebration stream. And it's going to go in a special room. We call it the Hall of Thousands. And the beginning of this room was a redstone door to a vault. It took a little bit of studying, but I'm able to consistently make this redstone door now. Alright, let's put some decoration around and then 6 lectures for the books. Next up, I went to my creative world to play around in the redstone lab, because I wanted to make a firework dispenser that would only shoot whenever we entered the room, not when we closed it. It took a couple hours of research and playing around, but I did learn some things I didn't know, and eventually I managed to make a one-way system that would activate whenever I entered the room, and it looked super cool. If Mumbo could have seen me that day, I'm sure he would be proud. With the Hall of Thousands decorated and looking good, it was time to go to the main base to tackle some bigger issues. But once I got there, I realized this place is a super weird entrance. I mean, what the heck is this? And I need to fix this, because this is the entrance to my industrial area. What if I make a pathway that goes to the side of the mountain, right around here, and then we make a proper gate. Something that moves out of the way and feels super cool whenever we go through it. It was a puzzle to figure something out, but I think I got it. I managed to fit in a slimmed down version of Mumbo's 10x10 slime and honey door. This was already a cool door when I started with it, but I made it look really nice and it is activated with a snowball. I honestly think I couldn't have come up with a better opening mechanism for this door. This is so sick. Okay, now that the shell of the base is looking good, it's time to finally start working on the industry for real. First thing we gotta do, set up the slime farms. Okay, hear me out. I got a crazy idea. Usually when you build a slime farm, it's very tall, because you can use all the layers in the slime chunk. But I don't want to do that. I want to be able to decorate under the mountain. So what if, instead of making a 21 layer slime farm, we make 7 slime farms with 3 layers? It took a little bit of digging and a little bit of removing lava, but not much later, I had this constructed. And when I say not much later, yeah, this took me like 3 days. Okay, we're under the super smelter. I have the output here, and I think I'm just gonna make a storage room. So the slime balls should be able to, there we go, and then I'll just get them up here, and then we'll put hoppers here. Okay, yes, that's working. Now I just want to decorate the room around it, because we're gonna be here a lot. This is the output for the super smelter. I just put frog lights with slime blocks here, and 2 frogs in there, a little bit of kelp. Okay, that's cool pool. And I made this little walkway into the floor here. That puts us at the bedrock level, and there we have our smelter output room. I like this, it's kind of nice. Speaking of liking nice things, I don't like this at all. Guys, I have a problem. We just finished the outside of the base, and it looks really cool above ground, but now every time I go underground, this all looks terrible. So maybe we have to do a little bit of decorating around here as well. But before we can do that, I need to get some resources. I have a pretty good idea of what I want to build next, but we need a lot of copper for it. So I went to look for a copper vein. These are actually really easy to find if you fly over the ocean, because you can see some exposed blocks. I realized that I also needed a bunch of dripstone blocks later. So I set up a quick dripstone farm, and then I started planning for construction. But I have a bit of an issue. You see that storage room over there? I want to integrate it into the build, but I think building a big tower up there, no, that will fill way too much of the room. We gotta go about this a little bit differently. Let me just start building up the snow frames. This right here could be a bridge pillar. Okay, I think we have a start. Let's check it out. Okay. This looks a little weird, but I think it's a good start. I can kind of see it. Let's go over what we're building here. The way I envision it, this is my industrial area and it gives me all the resources I could ever need. But there's also a civilization in the cave that is extracting those resources. So I'm thinking lots of metal, a mine, maybe some like forge building, then some houses and like a main hall. Okay, I need a lot of deep slate for it, so I'm gonna mine that out in a way that it also terraforms the cave floor and makes it look good. I think the deep slate works pretty well with blackstone, some tuff, and then some mud bricks. And that is the first pillar completed. Nice. And then for the top, we'll use some waxed copper and deep slate. Okay, I'm smelting a ton of copper, and this thing really annoys me. This is the input for the super smelter. Let's make a bridge here as well. That's a snow frame done. I think that works well. Now I want a piston door here. Cool. And then we'll make a bridge with some tuff, and then stone bricks, mossy stone bricks, some anvils for the handrail, and then copper stairs upside down in between, slabs above that, and now we just let it oxidate. Nice. That has a pretty cool weathered vintage feel to it. And if we walk through here, we get to the input room, which is now an amethyst geode. Okay, that looks pretty awesome. I don't think this place will annoy me anymore. Before we get back to the cave decorating, there was something else that really annoyed me. You see, this is the entrance to the industrial area that we have now. But once we go through the door, it absolutely sucks again. I think the issue is that because the base is so big, we can't do it all at the same time. I'll just solve one problem after the other. Transforming the entrance from this gaping empty hole into this leap of faith where we have to jump through a decorated cave was a massive improvement. Also, I tried out this funky thing where I added some magma and lava in between the deep slate and the bedrock, and I hid a bunch of campfires there for some smoke. It's only small additions, but one step at a time, I think we're getting this cave together. But I did run into another struggle. You know what I really missed from being above ground? The daylight. It's so dark in here. Oh god! Luckily, there are solutions to everything. I just need to have unlimited night vision, and I found out a way to do it. Let's just build an automated brewery underground. I think it's really cool if all these rooms have their own redstone doors. So I put one here, and now I'm building up all these modules made by Impulse SV, and I can use those to make basically any kind of potion I want. The coolest thing about these is that they automatically detect when the potions are running out. So unlimited night vision, here I come. I made a hopper line going out and a refill station for the water bottles there. Now I'll just hide the modules in this big industrial oversized kettle, and with that all decorated up, I think we're good to go. Well, there is the small detail of the room not having walls and stuff, but we'll have to do that later because I've been on a little bit of a distraction spree, and I think I gotta focus on the big stuff for now. This whole area under the mountain has been super overwhelming because, well, everything is so massive, so just making a little bit of progress on one part of the project takes many hours. But at least it's cool to enter now, and I've done a lot of the terrain, which makes quite a difference. I mean, look at that, that's a lot better. Now, the night vision dispenser comes out right over here, and I think it would really help if we made this place look good, because we're gonna be here like every 8 minutes when the potions run out. Okay, so the layout is pretty simple. We have the big brewery right here in this tunnel, and then there's a hopper line going out to the dispenser on the outside. There we go. As you can see, this is automatically getting filled, and that's really good. That's a start. Now I just want to make this place look cool, and we need a way to recognize where the potion dispenser is, but I also want to have it be hidden in the build. Maybe I'll put a water pool here. I have an idea. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna build giant mushrooms around here. I'm using the blue glazed terracotta for the edges. This looks awesome. So, and then some purple, frog lights underneath. Yo, this looks really cool. Okay, I'll add some amethyst clusters, a little bit of glow like in here. And a couple hours later, we had a really good start to the first biome under the mountain. Okay, this place looks really cool, but also it has that night vision dispenser, so we're gonna be seeing this a lot. So maybe my trips to this corner where the night vision dispenser is are gonna help a little bit with feeling like I'm stuck in a Hellic Minecraft project! I'm sorry guys, I just need a little bit of a breather. It's a lot. You know what I could really use right now, guys? Just a party, just something fun, a little bit of a stress relief. Well, luckily, it was a 1-year anniversary of my world, so it was time to go do something awesome rather than being under the mountain. I have this tradition of cleaning up my hardcore world after a year, and now that 1 year passed, I went through my entire world to pick up all the sugar boxes I had left behind at all the projects. And while I flew around the world to collect everything, I kinda thought about everything that happened so far. This first year had been kinda insane. Oh my god. I collected all the sugars that I had left in the starter house, over at the snow farm, and under the mountain. After I made my way around the entire world, I was left with 206 sugar boxes. Now, I have rules for this challenge. These 206 sugars, I have to use them in the colors that I found them in. No re-dyeing, this is what we gotta work with. So I dug out a brand new cave right next to the Hall of Fame that I called the Hall of the Years, and I got to work with the sugar boxes that I had. Just to make sure I was gonna get the shape right, I built everything in snow blocks and then replaced it, and I ended up having this cool flower. I know it's a wonky project, but think about it, guys. I couldn't change the colors, and I had to use every block that I found. That's not bad. I can't wait to do this again next year. And since that is on April 10th, which is only like a little over a month away, I'm a little worried. There's a lot of sugar boxes in my world now. Yeah, I'll be back here at the Hall of the Years in no time. Now, let's check out the progress at the mountain. I built a little bit of terrain. We've built the purple mushrooms, there's a sugar farm here, and I have a start to the civilization in the cave. But there are also a lot of temporary snow blocks. And I think it's time that I start construction and get rid of most of those. So one pillar at a time, I built up with blackstone, deep slate, and not so many mud bricks, but still a little bit of stuff. I removed the sand where needed, which, oh my god, this technique is so good. Pretty soon, things look a lot better. There's still a lot of snow, but we're getting there. I'll just build up the remaining towers, and then it is time to figure out how we're gonna make the underside of these bridges look. These chiseled blackstone blocks are really cool, and I like these basalt beams. I used dark oak fences under the arches so I could keep them open and hide some end rods inside, and that actually does a lot, because now if you look up from the cave floor, you can see the arches stand out against the ceiling. Okay, that's a lot of snow blocks gone. I think we gotta do the forge next. This building right here is where all of the metal that gets found in the cave gets smelted up, and it's a big one because this needs to be impressive. During construction of the outside of this building, I played around with a lot of blocks. I used some stairs in the walls, I used iron bars, I used grindstones, and that was only on the inside. Then I added a chimney to the back and I went really wild on the interior. I made a furnace, I made these walls with magma behind iron bars, and I made a big smelting room downstairs with minecarts and all sorts of stuff. I honestly went crazy on the interior design here, but somehow, focusing on all this small detailed work gave me a lot of motivation to keep up the big, grindy, boring stuff. And we had to do a lot of it. But the grindy, boring stuff is happening for a reason, because I want this cave to be really cool, and I want it to be a build in itself, where you can look around and see cool stuff everywhere. And that brings us to my issue. I want to go and finish the cave terrain, but I can't really understand what the terrain needs to look like, because wherever I look, there's something in the way right now. This is in every line of sight, and I've been thinking about it, but I don't think there's really any way we can hide the sugar farm inside of a structure that still makes the cave look right. So, that means there's only one solution. This thing has gotta go. By the time I had destroyed the sugar farm, it was now day 2687. And at this point in the story, I learned something. But when I say at this point in the story, I kinda mean at this point while editing story, because you guys keep derailing me at every turn of the way. Oh Loony, beat the Ender Dragon. Oh Loony, turn on replay mode. Oh Loony, why don't you get some frogs? Oh Loony, why don't you build a big mega base that takes you like 2 years of your life? Oh wait, that was me. Am I the problem? Oh Loony, get all the advancements. Well, surely I messed myself up a lot. But once again, you guys asked, so I delivered. The first ones weren't all that bad. I hadn't really bothered with the advancements, so there were a lot of them that I could just get out of the way. Like this one, where I spammed the trapdoor and flew away. That's how you do archery. It's easy. And some advancements were a little more difficult. Like this one, where I had to trick a villager twice. Nothing to worry about here. It's just a minor thunderstorm, but you're safe. There, you're all protected. Psych. Or this one, where I had to shoot a bunch of phantoms with one arrow. What a shot. At this point in the world, I knew where everything was, so a lot of them just really boiled down to fly over to a place to do a thing. Like walk on snow, or shoot this guy in the face. Wait, shoot this guy in... There we go! And then there's some advancements, which are a little tricky, because when you've been playing a world for over a year, you don't really know what you have or haven't done. I know that I've never killed a Zoglin, so that's done, but I didn't think of the Endermine, so you guys kinda helped me out on that one. I played some music in the mountains, and I loaded up a respawn anchor, which I was really worried was gonna blow up, even though we were in the nether. You gotta understand I only play hardcore. I never use these things. I found a Strider, rode it for a little while, and decided to give it a new home under a frozen mountain, which chat pointed out is maybe a little cruel, but it did get us 2 more advancements, so those are off the list now. And then we got to the really tricky ones, like our ballistic, where you have to kill 5 mobs with 1 arrow. Now, that one's tricky unless you can get them all together in a block and throw poison at them, which makes it pretty easy. As for the Star Trader advancement, that one I honestly made really difficult for myself. Nobody told me that I had to find and cure a villager at Bill High to trade with him there. It didn't work out though. Pleasure doing business, kind sir. And that finally brings us to the big one. How did we get here? The hardest advancement in the game that you can complete by having every single status effect applied in the same moment. Now, if you have never done this, it used to be hard before they added the Warden, but nowadays, it is straight up terrifying because you need to have darkness applied. We now had 2 options to choose from. Option 1 was get a Warden to the base, and that one was a big nope. And option 2, get a Shulker and a Dolphin to an ancient city, which was much more appealing, because once we were there, we could use a Skull Shrieker for the darkness effect, rather than a Warden. And that's where our complicating factor came into play. The thing is, from my base to the closest ancient city that I know of, is a long way. And I really didn't want to make a railway from my base all the way over there to transport a Shulker. There was an alternative, of course. If we could set up a nether portal at the ancient city, we could lay the railway for a Shulker over the nether roof, which was 8 times shorter. And we didn't have to build a railway up in the air, since the roof is already flat. Seems like a straightforward choice, right? Well, we didn't get to the complicating factor yet, because there are a few rules in my world, and one of those is that I don't use F3, which makes the game much more adventurous and fun. But it makes linking up portals really complicated, because the only way we can find out coordinates is by calculating them using maps to measure the distance from coordinates we already know. So for an entire lo-fi radio stream on Twitch, I played around with maps and temporary blocks. That mission took a lot of trial and error. Had me end up in the gold farm output once, but after a ton of calculating, measuring, flying around the overworld, trying portal locations, checking and double checking, we ended up with a few really important portals that literally changed the way my world works. I now have a portal up to the roof right next to the super smelter, a portal to the ancient city on the nether roof as well, and a portal to the stronghold portal room right next to it. But most importantly, because of all the measuring, I now know a bunch of specific coordinates in my world, which means that we can count out distances around the base to set up a nether hub further down the road. It may not sound like a big deal, but for me, this was a game changer. And the best thing about it was that I had to put in the effort to get it done, which made it all feel that much cooler. With the nether portal challenges out of the way, the only thing that was left was preparing the setup for the advancement. I found this pretty awesome setup in a video by Barbar31, using a Skulk Shrieker for the darkness effect. So I started off by preparing the holding cell for the Shulker, setting up the trapdoor I would squeeze myself into, and installing the potion dispenser redstone right next to it. But once that was out of the way, there were a lot of ingredients that still needed to be brought to the ancient city, starting with the dolphin. The trick to leave no room for error here is to squeeze the dolphin into a 1x1 block of water on top of salt sand and then sealing off the top. That leaves nowhere for the dolphin to go to commit suicide, but still make sure it gets breathable air from the bubble. So I built up a drop shaft up to surface level, made another temporary snow staircase, and then it was time to go look for a dolphin nearby. The living conditions I was about to leave this guy in were pretty appalling, so I tricked him into coming along by giving him a name tag labeled Life of Luxury. I know, not my best moment, but the strategy worked. So on day 2742, I had a dolphin set up for the advancement, which meant it was time for the next step. We had to transport the Shulker from the base. But everything was ready for this moment. Back when I built up the shulker farm, I had left a backup shulker on the floor of my base. And now that we had working portals on top of the nether roof, getting it over there should be as easy as sending it through the portal. Except, he was nowhere to be found. Turns out, he was just chilling on one of the gold farm spawning platforms, which led to a rather funny game of cat and mouse around the farm. But eventually, I managed to get him in a boat next to the minecart track, and not much later, he was on his way. Which brought me to the next item on my list. I needed to get a wither rose, which after checking at my starter house, I realized I didn't have lying around. Now, I don't have a farm for these, nor for wither skeletons, which was funny because it was the second main farm I made on my previous hardcore world. But I just don't use beacons all that much. I don't like the way they look, so I haven't felt the need to build a wither skeleton farm here. And that meant we had a little side quest, as I made my way to the nether to kill wither skeletons until I had 3 skulls. With those, I made my way back to the overworld, where I lured a bunch of unsuspecting chickens into a wither fight. Which was unfortunate for them, but it got me my wither rose. And once that part was done, the only things left were setting up a double beacon for haste and jump boost. Since I didn't have a rabbit foot for leaping potions, then I did a bunch of potion brewing at my starter house. And finally, I went to visit the automated brewer room under the mountain for night vision, swiftness, strength, and fire resistance. That completed my potion collection, and as the last step, I had to grab the conduit from the ocean monument I had stolen to decorate the castle with earlier. That was a lot of preparation, but it seemed like everything was ready. So it was time for a test run. According to my plan, I could fly to the desert over the nether roof, get Bad Omen and Hero of the Village in the desert, then fly to a nearby ocean monument to get mining fatigue, and then rush back over the nether roof all the way to the ancient city in time to apply all the other effects before the mining fatigue ran out. And the test run? Checked out. I had 2 minutes and 30 seconds to spare on the mining fatigue. And that meant it was go time. I activated everything according to plan, yet failed miserably. Not only did I not get how did we get here, I also didn't get the Furious Cocktail advancement. And that could only be explained by something very basic going wrong. Because all Furious Cocktail is getting all the potion effects applied at the same time. Did I miss one? Either way, we had to try again. That night, after the stream finished, I analyzed the footage to get ready for the second attempt the next day. And I found that I had made 2 mistakes. The first one was bringing my hunger down too far to make sure we could eat all the necessary ingredients. That meant I couldn't sprint when I got down under the trapdoor, which led me to not going into swim mode and therefore not activating Dolphin's Grace. But it didn't explain why I didn't activate all the potions. The second mistake happened when I tried to eat the pufferfish and accidentally deactivated the lever, which caused the potion dispenser to stop firing too early. As a result, there was still a water-breathing potion left in the dispenser. I had plenty of information to fix my mistakes. So the next day, I came prepared. Everything was ready, and we tried again. I hated this moment so much. We got Fury's Cocktail, but not how did we get here. And the thing that messed it up for us? Dolphin's Grace. Again. This time, I moved backwards before all the other effects were applied, ending the Dolphin's Grace effect. So we had to try one last time. And that got it done. I can't tell you how relieved I felt when we finally got it. It took me 3 tries, but it was done. And that called for celebration. So I made my way back to my base, jumped down into the entrance gate, and flew straight to the villagers to buy myself a birthday cake. And that made for the very last hidden advancement, when we got an LA to drop the cake at a notebook. We finally had all the advancements. What an adventure. To finish my stream that day, I looked for an ancient city to hopefully get some enchanted golden apples back. And it seemed like my luck had turned for the better. After 2 ancient cities that I had visited so far, which both gave 0 enchanted golden apples, I finally found 2 of them in this city, in this same chest. That was a great feeling, and a satisfying end to a few days of trials and tribulations. Okay, we're finally back at the base. It is almost day 2800, so I gotta really step it up with the building now. Let's go finish this purple area first. I think we need some portals over at the walls and some details in the water pools here. I think I really like dead coral for this. We got a lot of purple going on already, and this kind of fits the vibe. It's a little haunting, honestly. Ooh, I really like the glow lichen, but I think we gotta do the portals next. So amethyst, glazed purple terracotta, obsidian, and blackstone. I think that will do it. I made a little bit of a gradient in the portals. It's honestly pretty cool. Crying obsidian and skulk though, really finished it. This is an epic wall. Oh, and it's even better without the night vision. Yo, love that. With the purple area done, there were 2 more parts that I really wanted to finish now. I wanted to build the mine shaft above it leading into the forge, and we still had to build the main hall because there's a lot of snow blocks in this corner. Initially, I thought of doing the same thing as we did with the castle, building it out of sand first, but I don't think we really need to. I mean, this snow frame pretty much tells it all. So, for the blocks, I think I'm gonna go with nether bricks, and then magma behind it. Maybe some red nether bricks to make it pop. Oh my, look at this place. This is epic for a diagonal build, and I love the details that I came up with, like these hanging towers. This is so cool. Finishing the purple area, building the main hall fortress, and finishing up the terrain around it had taken almost 100 days. At this point, I was really filling in all the details in this area, because there was no way I was going to complete the entire cave before day 3000, and I at least wanted one area that really showed a lot of progress since day 2000. At this point, I was doubting myself a little bit. I was wondering if I had done enough, because somehow it felt that we hadn't moved all that much since day 2000. I really didn't know where the days went. I kinda shoved that feeling aside and focused on the 3000 day firework because I still wanted to add another firework feature. On the nether hub we had these cool flaming snowballs, so I added a similar system next to the path leading up to the mountain. Then for the last 30 days of the 3000 day arc, I put my head down and grinded details like an absolute madman. And then, right as we were about to hit day 3000, I did something that I probably should have done a week or so earlier. I checked out the difference between 2000 and 3000 days in replay mode, and it honestly blew my mind. Somewhere along the way, I had kind of forgotten that we started with a super barren cave under the mountain. And only 1000 game days later, it looked like this. Yo, reality check? I need to listen to myself more. Trust the process, dude. You got this. When I started the 4000 day arc, it was pretty cut and dry what I was gonna do next. I want to make sure that by the end of these 1000 days, we don't see any snow in this cave anymore. Let's start by sealing this storage room. I gotta make some wool paths first for markers though, because as soon as we start building this ceiling, we won't be able to change it anymore. Okay, I finished all the wool paths, including the one that goes all the way to the bottom of the base. Speaking of getting to the bottom of the base, that part is easy, we just jump down. But what about getting back out of there? That is getting increasingly hard. Right now, it already takes me 7 rockets to fly up out of here, but as soon as we have a ceiling, I won't be able to do that anymore. So I came up with a smarter solution. We're gonna make an ender pearl stasis chamber. These things are really cool, but also pretty easy to make. All you need is a water column with soul sand bubbles that has an ender pearl floating and a trapdoor right next to it. And then you need a redstone line to activate it. And our system is pretty insane because this travels 400 blocks horizontally and 200 blocks vertically in a split second. The next part of base decoration was the grindiest part I had done yet. Luckily, my stream chat was there to hang out while I did it, but that week I streamed multiple days of 5, 6, 7, 9 hours at a time of just me placing smooth basalt. It was hell. And then we haven't even talked about the 4027 amethyst geodes that I had to mine first. Please tell me you didn't fall for that. I have a basalt generator and a super smelter. In the middle of this insane basalt grind, I was pretty glad that the Tales and Trails update came out, and I had an absolute blast going around my world finding all the new stuff. The only thing I didn't really enjoy was getting a Vex stream from a woodland mansion. Oh my god, these guys hit so hard, it's insane. The woodland mansion fight was so intense and so scary that I decided to abort mission for the day, head on home, and set up a sniffer farm. The next day, I made it back with a heap of TNT and a flint and steel. I'm not proud of it, but it did the job. It got me my Vex trim, and in a nearby forest, I found a trail ruins which got me all the trims from right there. Also, exploring this place was cool. On the way back, I managed to pick up a rib trim as well as a netherite upgrade template, but I unfortunately forgot about the snout trim. Then again, the collection wasn't completed yet anyway, because I still had to get the trims from the ancient city. And Stream Chat did everything to convince me to go out and get them. But something miraculous happened. I grew a backbone, I have a spine now, I'm strong-willed, so I did terraforming instead. For days. Literal tens of thousands of basalt blocks later, I had made a good amount of progress on the cave ceiling and the cave walls. But it was time to do a little bit of decorating instead. I haven't fully explained the plan for the cave in this video yet, but the idea is pretty simple. I've designed this cave to look like a bit of a color wheel of biomes. So far, I've made the purple area that has the mushrooms and the night vision machine, and right next to that, we're gonna start the gradient, going to pink, then to red, orange, and so on. It's gonna look a little bit like this, except that it's not that on the nose. It's gonna be like proper design and stuff, you'll see. To take a little bit of a break from the basalt terraforming, I started decorating the pink area, which initially looked a little bit like a brown area, because I had to do a lot of terrain first. But after doing the terrain and weaving some sturdy brown vines along the cave walls and ceiling, I started adding these massive pink glowberry-like fruits and a giant sakura tree in the middle overhanging a pathway. Okay, I'm standing here looking at this stuff and it's pretty cool and all, but it can use a little bit more pink. Let me put some petals here and then some flowers. Okay, that's better, but now we need to work on the lake. I actually found out that using ice blocks, I can save a ton of time here, and that already looks a lot better. I think I finished the pink area for now. Actually, I think there's one more thing we can do. You know how I've been using this night vision? Well, sometimes I just want to turn off the light, because it helps me design. So, I think we need to get a cow down here to have our own little milk factory. Let's build an island here, got a cow from the wild, boated him off the bridge through the beacon, over the lake, and just like that, Bartholomew had his new home. And I can cancel out all my earlier work by drinking milk. Epic. Speaking of earlier work, while I build up the slime area here, I should tell you about something that happened a little while back. I've started a bit of a tradition, where whenever I celebrate a 1000-day milestone, we pop the fireworks into the sky, and then the next day, I don't fly. Getting rid of the elytra changes your perspective on your entire world, and that is kind of necessary with how big everything has gotten. But when I did this, on day 3001, we had some accessibility issues. The base wasn't ready for it. Taking the leap of faith without an elytra would have probably popped a totem, or I could have even died, so I decided to descend through the fireworks scaffolding instead. What this redstone circuit isn't good for. After setting up a slime landing pad, I had to do the full route again, and it worked, but this is not the most reliable way to navigate the base. Yeah, we need a better option. And that brings us back to the green area, because it is really important that I finish this part. Day 4001, I want to take the full walk and I want to have it look proper. So we gotta decorate everything between the top of the base and right here. So first order of business, we need to get rid of this weird green moss thing that I've been keeping the sniffers in. We'll just relocate these guys, I guess. No sniffers were harmed in the making of this. Okay, who am I kidding? A bunch of them died, but it got even worse after I made an awesome new place for them, because they've just been unaliving themselves. I thought that I had poor design and they suffocated in walls, but what actually happened was even worse. Check this out. I have a feeling that these guys were perfectly happy being extinct. They didn't really appreciate me saving them. But what about my feelings? Nobody asked me what I felt Well, I was having a great time moving these guys, so I decided to move the villagers as well. I've had these guys on the bottom of the perimeter since like day 200 or something. I should probably get them up in the main hall right now. Moving the villagers was a roller coaster. I got to ride minecarts, look at this. For once, I did a perfectly fine job, but throughout this entire process, Stream Chat was betting against me. They were waiting for me to mess up. But I got every single villager up there without killing a single one. Guys, why don't you don't I'm so offended. I put all my farmers in this awesome looking room with a bone meal farm that is fueled by cookies underneath. Let's make the interior of the main hall as well. We need a cool ceiling here. Okay, the nether bricks look good. Then the ceiling itself, nice. Chandelier. I'll put lightning rods here. And then railings, little carpet, a false door. And that's a pretty sick interior, I like it. Every time I get to level 70, I fly to the starter house to name a rocket or something and lose a level, but that's kind of inconvenient. So for good measure, I added an enchanting room here as well. For the next part of the video, we're going through the progress really quickly, because this next part was so grindy. First I made the terrain for the green area, and once that was set, I started focusing on the first eye catcher. I want to make a big magical beanstalk. Now, I'm going to make it out of snow, and then warp netherwart blocks, and crimson netherwart blocks. These are temporary blocks, but I need to be able to see the different steps. I gave them all a little bit of a different palette, but that looks really neat. Now I gotta make leaves, and the first one was kind of terrible. I made it way too flat. After that, I figured it out. They need to be hanging, drooping in all directions. This was an insane puzzle, but I managed to get it done, and I really like the way this came out. Now that the base is slowly taking shape, I started adding more fun features into it. This is kind of random, it just happened while constructing, but I made a slime jump parkour in the beanstalk. This is such a sick way to get down, I love this. As part of a resource gathering that is happening in the cave, which I spoke of earlier, I made a slime refinery, which was kind of a funky build, because what is a slime? Well, nobody knows. I just made a slime lake and put industry there, which was hoisting the slime out of the lake and then putting it in a processing kettle. It all looked pretty cool, and it was really fun figuring out what this would look like. I love how the cranes came out for this thing, that is awesome. I was making really good progress in the cave, but day 4000 was slowly creeping up on us, and I wanted to finish all the new advancements from the 1.20 update before I hit the 4000 day milestone. So I set out to complete that one advancement where I had no idea how long it was going to take. I still had to get the silence trim, and this one is really rare. 1.2% chance of getting this trim in ancient city chests, which are scary to loot. Up to this point, the ancient cities had frightened me, and I was not going to risk my world to get an armor trim. So I did a little bit of practice before I went into an ancient city, and I found out a pretty good way to loot them using night vision and swift potions. It turns out, spawning a warden is not such a big deal, you just gotta sneak away quickly. After discovering this key piece of knowledge, I got kinda hooked on raiding the ancient cities. Turns out, it's really kind of fun to find enchanted golden apples this way, and that got me into double digits. Nice. I was now a man with much enchanted fruit, a silence trim, and also a snout trim, because I realized I forgot to get this from the nether, still went for it. And not much later, I had all the advancements again. Alright, where were we? The green area, of course. But take notice how this actually feels like a cave now. At 3000 days, we had the one side nicely decorated, but now it actually feels like we're in a cave. Good stuff. Okay, let's build that pathway all the way down. I had to make a bridge over the waterfall here. Speaking of the waterfall, I decided to put some blocks in there so it also looks good in shaders. And I've gotten kind of hooked on the crazy blocks. Look at all this glazed terracotta and diamond ore. And speaking of glazed terracotta, I've used that in a bunch of places now. Love this stuff. Okay, back to the pathway. The next part starts in the castle, and then we have to be able to jump all the way down into this cave. Okay, first we need walls. I made a pathway with pillars through the middle. We got a lot to do though. And now with the coral in place and some frog lights hidden under moss carpets, torch flowers. If we follow the pathway all the way down there, it goes into this tunnel with the glow lichen. That goes to the firework engine room, which I decorate as well. This tunnel leads to the storage room. Okay, in the green area, it comes out right here, but the green area itself is kind of empty, so I think we gotta build the greenhouse next. Just put a snow frame down here. Okay, I got the shape figured out. Let's do the interior structure. That looks cool. and then I just decorated the full thing. The interior for this looks sick, but I'm gonna build so many interiors, we can't show all of them. If you want to see it yourself, you can get the world download now on Patreon, or wait till I die in the world or end the series and then you'll get it for free. Okay, next up, we're finishing the pathway now, but it leads through this wall behind the green area, and I gotta put in a couple caves to make it work well. First off, we'll have this cave right here. This is gonna have some custom mushrooms. I'll add a little bit of skulk around the walls here. The skulk veins look nice. And then we're just gonna make sure that the texture here works. Yo, this is a very cool cave. And I made another one a little bit further down, which is a bit more basic. Guys, I think we got it figured out. I'm just placing some lights over the entire green area and then some flowers, details. It was a ridiculous race against the clock, but right before day 4000, I was done. I had a pathway that went all the way to the bottom of the base. And honestly, the most annoying thing in the cave right now is the torch spam, but we'll get to that. For now, we gotta be happy with what we have. I added a cool firework feature, which looks really nice. And then we hit the 4,000 day milestone. And you don't even know how excited I am about this, because next up, we're gonna do the castle interior. Right now, the exterior looks dope, the cave looks dope. The castle interior, it's an empty shell. Let's fix that. At this point, on day 4000, our initial plan is pretty much completed. By YouTube Minecraft standards, I have a perfect base. But I think we can do better, so the interior is like the cherry on top. But to be fair, I should point out the big flaw in my world. Aside from not having an automated storage system, I really don't have a lot of projects outside of this castle area. So for the first time, since we built the snow farm, I'm gonna build other projects as well. 5,000 day arc, here we go. Day 4000, let's get to work. Right from the get-go, I wanted to start working on the castle interior, but it wasn't meant to, well, it was very annoying without my elite trap. But I did get to walk the pathway, and that was an awesome feeling. Those first few days, I just enjoyed the low to the floor lifestyle, as I built a crop field and some small details next to the screenshot tower, which is a name that only makes sense if you've seen the world tour. The next day, I could fly again, so it was time to get to work. So the castle's looking epic, but this is the interior. Yeah, that won't do anymore. So I thought I was going to build a throne room here. I think it's too small though. So I came up with a better plan. We're going to put it right there. Now the idea here is that if we put the throne room all the way up there, we have lots of room for this lower castle, which will have dungeons, training rooms, soldiers' quarters, and we also have plenty of space in the upper castle to make the royal quarters, the royal bedroom, and a couple of really cool vantage points to see the surrounding area. Okay, first off, we gotta do the most important room in the entire castle. Now, the framework is really important here, and at some point, it looked interesting like a minion. This is totally a minion. Alright, this is a cool start to the room. I got some arches that will have an interesting wall pattern inside with some crying obsidian behind it. I think that would look cool. Yo, this is epic. Stairs are the best. Okay, I put a ceiling in the room with wooden support beams, but also composters and note blocks. These are super cool textures. Okay, now we need stairwells on either side of the throne room because I want to be able to walk all around the castle. And then we need a cool backdrop for the throne. We're going for Snowflake here because the area around the castle is frozen over, so I decided to call the castle Winter's Hold and the cave underneath Winter's Hollow. Okay, I replaced the wool with quartz and made a throne. Yeah, that looks pretty epic. But now I need to solve a problem. If we want to get out of the cave, we can use the Ender Pearl stasis chamber to get all the way up to the base. But getting to the storage room and back is taking a little time, so I need a shorter route. Let's go to the redstone lab real quick, and I think I figured something out. If we can use this to go through the maps in the middle of the storage room, I think this is gonna work. I just need to bring the ceiling down a little bit. Okay, I've put some redstone under there. Let's try it out. Yo, this is epic. This is epic. Okay, there's one more thing to do though, because we have to drop her into this room. But I need to make another redstone door so we can secretly get into the storage room from right here. Let me dig through the floor. Okay, I think I have something. Let's give it a shot. So we go here. There's a slime block, and that works. And now from there, we can go into the cave, and then we can use the stasis chamber to get back up. Okay, this is really cool stuff. Also, I added a timing circuit so we can go in one go now. Redstone development are coming in clutch. I realized that the castle needs a banner, so I designed something cool and put it in the throne room. Yeah, that's a good upgrade. But now I have one room in the castle done. And we need a lot more. Let me build some frameworks because I need to figure out how the lower castle is laid out. I'm using some sand pillars here to understand the shapes a little bit better. Okay, this looks like a crazy mess right now, but I think it's gonna work. I think I can see it. Yeah, this is good. Let's make a stairwell right here. Now, there's a lot of rooms around here, so we're gonna go over them quite quickly. This one is a training arena. I put some sand in there for the floor, and then I designed a perfectly balanced room. Because if you want to have a 1v1 training fight, it has to be fair. Okay, I need a bunch of beehives, so I stole these guys as homes, and I think I left most of them behind. Hopefully, I don't want to have bees in the base. But they make for super cool ceiling blocks. So this room is going to be the mess hall where the soldiers eat. We'll get back to that one in a little bit, because I blame you guys. Stream chat asked me to do dungeons, we're doing dungeons. Okay, this is also attached to the central dropper. I'll put some gates here. We have some small holding cells. Oh, hang on guys. I'm out of iron bars. We need to get some more. Let me go through this door here and then we get into the dropper. So I'll just jump down here. Then we go through redstone door number 1. Hit the slime, go through the map. Nice. And then if we fly over here into the green area, we can go through here and then here's the iron farm. Oh, there's plenty of stuff here. Okay, I'll make the iron bars, and then let's go back to the dungeon. I put the bars in place, but I want to press pause here because I just teleported, and the teleporter room looks terrible. So we're doing that next. Right, so the teleporter room is this one, which I thought was going to be the throne room. Let's start with wall designs. That's not quite it. Okay, that looks a little better already. Now I just need to figure out how to do this pattern. I think it's this, and then to the sides. Okay, I'm gonna put frog lights behind it. Let's see if that works. Ooh, that's kind of nice. I just need to get some crimson stems, and I haven't even showed you where that farm is. Let's go down here again. Guys, I gotta admit, I'm a little addicted at just getting something now. Because this way is so cool. Just through the storage. And then we go to the pink area right here. Let me aim this. Okay, here's an output room. I still have to decorate this, but this is where the nether tree farm, amongst other things, go. So, that's how we get the stuff. Let's teleport back up there. Okay, that's what I thought. The crimson stems work much better than the frog lights. Yo, that is very cool ceiling design. Okay, now I just gotta do all the patterns for the arches. Build that up there with the andesite. Okay, that's a good start. I like this. I just gotta get some calcite real quick because I'm totally out. Let's find a stony peak spot. I've been flying for a while. I haven't seen one yet. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Okay, I'll just get this calcite. Let me take a couple sugars of the stuff while we're here. Okay, with all the calcite, I could now finish the teleporter room. And this room looks like this now. That is much better to teleport back to every time we get out of the base. Nice. The castle interior is steadily evolving, but I was just chilling on my throne and I realized something. The last time that I did anything about the village next to the castle is like 2,500 days ago. So it is due for an upgrade. I put a beacon in place, did a little bit of terraforming to get the terrain ready, and then I started work on a place that is called The Junction. A marketplace area that kind of ties everything together here. Okay, that looks like a good start. Alright, I just built up this plaza with a variation of stone bricks and some andesite. Make a couple pathways all around the place to connect things up. This needs a little trim. Okay, and then the pathway goes up here. And I'll make some custom trees here. Cover that up. Okay, that's a good start. That's a good start. I'll put some leaves around the side here. And then it is now time to start working on the barn. This is going to be the food storage for the village. Spruce logs for the frame. Let's figure out something for the roof. I came up with a combination of spruce planks and oak planks. That is good. Okay, now I need some hay bales for the storage. Let me replant the field real quick. Don't tell anybody there's snow inside. Then let's put a pulley system here so we can hoist the hay bales up. Yo, that looks very cool. Okay, the barn is coming along quite well, but now I want to build a start to the tavern right next to it. We'll just have some stone walls here. I'll put bamboo on the roof for now, but I think I want hay bales. With a floor in there, a little bit of orange terracotta. Yo, I realized that harvesting the crop field is just not the way to go. I'm gonna raid a bunch of villages for hay bales instead. Okay, let's replace that roof. Yes, that's it. That's a classic look. You need at least one building in your world like that. Okay, then some wooden details around the frame of the roof. Let's check this out. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, I did the other side as well. Now let's add some detailing to the entrance of the barn. Yes. Guys, I got stoked. Last night, I finished all of it. This is the interior for the barn. We have melon storage. I have some pie shells here. We got pumpkins and hay bales. And then next door, the tavern is called the Creep Inn. We got some barrels here. Let's make taps out of that. And then here we have a terrace. I like this a lot. This is so cool. Okay, next up, let's make some market stalls around the junction area. I made a bunch of different market stalls, and those are coming together really well. Now, we need some trees in the area, and I think cherry trees will look cool, but they need to be in these planters. I came up with this design. Honestly, that looks really neat. I've spent about 90 days on the junction area now, but I think I need to extend the oak forest around it a little bit before we're done. I ran out of saplings, so I'm just harvesting up some leaves with a fortune hoe. Okay, now let's expand the forest. I'll add a fountain right here, and then we need a pathway next to it, and a well up here. Okay. There are a couple details left to finish, like this pathway over here, but in general, the area has come alive. Look at this. We have the junction with the marketplace right in the first there. Let me make some banners for the creep in because we need to finish that. Honestly, guys, details are key. Yo, this is super cool. This is gonna look epic. Okay, I'll just build an entrance here. And then the banners. Extinguished campfires on the top, which are like literally one of the best blocks in the game. And then all we need to do is finish the interior. Okay, next up, we're gonna do something really stupid. It is Halloween tomorrow, and I've decided that I'm gonna make a full Halloween build in just 5 hours. So all of these shulkers are full of pumpkins from the farm, and I'm gonna use a bunch of them to make a castle. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm enjoying the castle build here, but it's just taking too long. So I'm gonna build an entire castle in just 5 hours. Start the timer. Here we go. There's something I quickly gotta do first. Powder snow scares me, so we're gonna make some safety slippers. Okay, that feels a lot better. Right, so first up, we gotta build the main hall. This footage is not sped up, by the way. This is how you play if you want to build a full castle in 5 hours. Oh god, I'm already 12 minutes into the challenge, and I have made a rectangle. You know what will really help? I already have a beacon under here because I mined some andesite. I'm gonna put that on jump boost, because I have a feeling it's gonna go a lot quicker if I can jump 2 blocks high. Well, that is absolutely true. Let's get these phantoms out of here. I have now built the framework for the main hall of the castle. Let's just put a roof on there. There we go. And then we gotta figure out where the towers go now. Okay, that looks weird, but I think we're on the right track. I'm almost 2 hours in. Now we gotta add the walls in between the towers. Right. We're about halfway done. Oh my god, there's so much work left. Just gonna make the tops of the towers. These phantoms are insane. Okay, this looks good. Now I'll just add a bridge so we can enter. 3 hours, 10 minutes. I need a skull here to fit the Halloween theme. Oh my god, I messed it up. After building it down 2 blocks lower, that now fits. Bone blocks on the inside. Okay, that's kind of sick. These are easily the most intense 5 hours of Minecraft I've ever played. During this entire build, I'm just butterfly clicking to be fast enough, but it's working. I'll just add another hall with a roof on here. It was wild. But after 5 hours, this is what I had to show for it. That's kind of insane. Now, since we have this thing here, I better use it for something. Let's put a sheep farm inside. Crazy thing, making the sheep farm inside took me 2.5 times longer than building a castle around it. Kinda insane. Anyway, now I could kill the sheep at the main base, which saved a little bit of anti-lag. To finish the farm, I just made a sorting system on the top so that all the colors get sorted out into their own chests. Meanwhile, the days were flying by, so I decided to go back to the castle decoration, and to do that, I needed to get some cobwebs. Using cobwebs and lots of small interior blocks, I made the cells like this royal cell, which is kind of fancy. But if I ever capture an opposing king, this is where I'm gonna keep him. Surely not foreshadowing at all. Some details, some bookshelves here. Okay, this looks kind of nice. I think we got it for here. Next. All the cells were coming together pretty well, until I messed up in the weirdest way. Now, for most people, this wouldn't be a problem, but look what I did. After getting sweet dreams on the very first night, I had misclicked on a bed in the village, and if you paid very, very close attention, you might have seen it, because that's where I came out of the end after fighting the Ender Dragon the first time. But since then, I've never clicked on a bed, and now my streak of 4,400 plus days is gone. Still, I got out of the bed in time, but man, I was so bummed. At least we're done here. Okay, this cell is super creepy. These are terrible. You don't want to be in here. I think we got it for the dungeon. With that, we're done with the lower castle for now, so let's move to the upper castle, which is still very empty. I've put snow frames in here already, so we have some idea for the layout. Okay, to match the aesthetic of the rest of the castle, I'm gonna use a lot of sandstone, and we'll use quartz to make everything look fancy. These stairs should go up to the royal quarters. Okay, that looks nice. I need more pillars here, and like an arch to make it flow well. Big pillar here. I think the key to making this castle look good is having pillars everywhere so that all the different parts look supported. Okay, I'm out of sandstone though, so I have to take a quick trip to the desert to get some more. Honestly, I think getting sand is so much quicker than getting the sandstone that we might as well just use sand and craft it up. Okay, I think we got all of it. No. What the heck is that creeper? Okay, I got everything I need. Let's get back to work. Okay, I still need an archway here to make everything look a little bit more supported. And then I think we have most of the structural details. Let's start building some interiors. Okay, I'll put a floor in here. This is going to be the royal library. I'll put some stripped dark oak logs over here. I made a little bit of a goofy parkour to one of the balconies. This is kind of cool. Oh god, there's some mobs here. It's so easy to forget that we're working in a perimeter. Yo, that's crazy. I just realized something. Back when I first made the castle, I worked from the exterior. So I have all these towers and stuff, but we need to be able to get to the balconies. This one's easy, but some of the other ones might be challenging. Okay, next up, I still need to make the interior layout for the royal bedroom. And I found this. Yeah, this is epic. I'll put a campfire here, and then that is the chimney. Let's put a chimney on top. That looks really nice, but it is now also a castle entrance. Okay, back to the library. Let's put a ceiling in there, have some support beams, lanterns, and then for a library, we need bookshelves, of course. Okay, that looks nice. Now I need something else. Let me make a quick trip to the new castle. This place looks sick. Okay, I have the wool storage all sorted out at the top. Let me take the blue wool. And then from the nether tree farm, we'll get some sticks. Craft that up into banners. And then I'll copy a sugar box full of the Winterhold banner. And then those can go here in the royal bedroom. And I actually put them all over the castle. These things really, really finish it. And that is the royal bedroom done. Yeah, we're flying through this. Most of the upper castle is already done. I need to make some defensive positions. This is the main entrance once you get to the top of the pathway. Seeing these hanging signs during editing makes my heart hurt a little bit. They look so cool, but I had to remove them and replace them with iron bars because of lag. Okay, now we need a guard room behind here. With some stone stairs, make a cool ceiling. And then out here, we still have a lot of room. For most of the project, I had my sugars in the throne room, but I moved them out here. It's time to get them out of here as well, because I think next up, we make a little garden here. I like the idea that if the castle is ever under siege, we have some emergency food supply. Let me get a water bucket. Okay, then we'll make an unlimited water source up here and make a farm around that. I'll need some wheat, and then we plant the seeds over here. Put some other seeds here as well, maybe some pumpkins, melons, and then here we can have some cocoa beans on the logs. Yes, that's nice. then some fully grown pumpkins over here, a melon over here, and I think we got our farm, beetroots and all. Okay, it is time to make a lap through the castle and find any places that I haven't finished yet. I made this small transition room, realized that the mess hall wasn't quite done, and I had not made the kitchen yet. So let's do that next. Put a tabletop here, put some water here just to work with. Let's fill the cauldrons. And then this looks like a cooking island of sorts. That's cool. Then let's put some cakes here on the shelves. And then we need storage because they gotta have some food to work with. Okay, this looks good. I like it. Okay, at this point, I'm working towards finishing the lower castle entirely. Next up, we gotta do the apartments. This is where the fancy people in the castle live. These are all unique and really cool. I would encourage you to check out the world tour if you want to see them in more detail, because we can't really show all of them. Okay, guys, it's almost day 4,600, and I think the castle is done for now. That leaves me with two options. Either we continue working on the cave, or I do an entire different project. And I think I have enough time to pull it off before day 5,000. Remember that ocean monument that I straight up just stole earlier in the video to make the castle exterior details? Well, I left it as a hole in the ocean. So I think it's time to build a guardian farm here. Now, I had a really cool ocean monument project in my first hardcore season, but that took me like 1,400 days to make. And I'm gonna challenge myself, after that 5-hour Halloween project, I have a feeling that in just a couple hundred days, I can make a really cool project. Let's go for it. First, I need to make some more sand walls because we gotta drain the area around the monument. Luckily, the area isn't too big, so I'm just gonna use sponges to dry out these strips. I'm just placing them like a bit of a maniac, but it works if the strips are narrow enough. Okay, that is the first one done. Now I just gotta collect all the sponges, which actually really sucks. I can barely get to them. Right, I'll just get to the nether and then we can dry them out quickly. There we go. After draining the first strip, I smartened up and I realized that you could break the sponges on the way down. Sure, you'll probably lose a couple doing it this way, but that is a fair trade if you realize how much time it saves you. Taking down the sand walls was honestly my favorite part of the project so far. Now we just gotta level out the floor a little bit. I want to have some more space to build with, but I'll be honest, at this point I didn't really have a plan. The only thing I knew is that I needed to know where the ocean monument hitbox was, so I left a couple layers of the monument in place and started mining out the area around it. Yo guys, the thunderstorm just started. I thought of something really cool. In my Season 1 Hardcore World, I had 2,500 mob heads from thunderstorms, but I haven't wanted to destroy my world, so I didn't do any mob head hunting in this world. What if I make the top of this build waterlogged, and then, whenever there's a thunderstorm, we can just go here and farm mob heads? Yo, that's epic. I still gotta make a guardian farm though, and we're going portal based for this one, but that's a bit of a challenge. Let me go to my spawn real quick. So from here, I know my coordinates. We have 00 marked, so I'm gonna go and fly back to the ocean monument while making new maps. If we do that, I can totally find a location. It's just gonna be a bit of a challenge. Okay guys, I figured it out. If you wanna know how I did it, go to the full 5,000 day movie because that has all the details in it. But for now, the portals are linked up and this all works. And that means I can now set up the nether side storage system. I'll just put the portal up here so the guardians die from fall damage. Then we need automated item filters. Okay, so the storage system is done, but now I need a ton of obsidian to make the actual portals for the farm. So let's go to the end and mine a bunch. The reason that we go with a portal-based farm is that the guardians spawn inside of the portals, immediately get teleported to the nether, and that frees up the mob cap, which means you spawn an insane amount of mobs. Now, I never need that many drops in a single player world, so what we're gonna do is I'm only gonna fill up about half of the potential portal space, and that makes it so we can hide all the farms in a build and it will just look cool. You won't even be able to tell that it's a farm if you didn't know it was. Okay, many hours have passed, but we're finishing up the portals now. Let me just get a little bit more obsidian to finish it off, and then these should be the last sections. Right, I still have to fill up a bunch of the portals with water, but this is what it looks like now. Okay, and done. So far, the farm isn't even fully operational, but it's producing so many resources already, so I had to clean out the storage and build more chests. It's crazy. So I'm thinking about the build now, and I came up with a crazy idea. I'm gonna remove the sand walls. And because I've dug out the area in the middle, this is not gonna autofill. So instead of glass walls, I'll have no walls. Okay, this is gonna wait for a second. To make sure the farm works well, I actually need to light up all the caves around this area. And that's gonna be a challenge because I don't really know how to find them. I'm just gonna go caving and we're gonna stay underground until I can find no more spots. Okay, I just spent about 3 hours underground spamming torches. I don't even really care if we got it all, but that should help a lot by keeping the wildcat empty.
Look at that dumbass, guys. He's grinding his little heart out, but for what? Let me tell you a story. Loony is actually really bad at this game. He had a hardcore world before this one where he died to a single piglin. Honestly, that can happen to anyone if you're not wearing any armor and it's day 3, but this man did it after 6,560 days in full netherite. All that work lost in seconds. And to be honest, I don't know why he did all the building in the first place. We were once nominated for the same award, Best Hardcore Series. Loony, builder of many things in thousands of hours, versus me, Clownpierce, a man without armor who got blaze rods and called it a day. Guess who walked away with the prize? All that work for nothing. He's dumb. What a waste of a Minecraft player.
Clown, what the heck, dude? How did you get here? Leave me alone. I gotta finish this project. Okay, let's take all the sand walls down now. Honestly, this farm looks nuts. It's almost a shame that we're gonna hide it. Okay, I need dark prismarine to start building up the actual structure, but I'm trying to get these guardians to kill squids, and it doesn't really look like it's working quickly enough. That means I gotta build a squid farm. I don't really want to do this, but I don't think there's any real way around it. For now, let's just build with the blocks that we have. I started wrapping the pillars, and I think this works. I figured out a pretty cool design, built a couple of them, did all the top sections that I could, and now we have this as a start. I'm gonna build a monument structure on top of that, but for now, let's build that squid farm first. Right, I'm just gonna drain out this river, put some sand dividers in there. Okay, that's a good start. Now let's get the sponges. This is a lot easier when these strips are so small. Then we dry them out in the nether and rinse and repeat. That actually wasn't too bad. I got this done real quick. Now we gotta build the portals in there, and that also means I need to figure out the coordinates again, but these we can reference from the main base. Guys, I'm gonna cut this scene out, but I had a struggle with it. I got it wrong in so many different ways. If you want to see it, it's in a full 5,000 day movie, but this was terrible. I finally did get it linked up though. And the farm is working, but I think I have to do something that I really don't like to do. This farm only works if the only water that you're loading in the area is in the farm. And there's only really one way to do that, and that's from high up in the sky here. I'm gonna AFK for an hour. I normally never do this, but you gotta do what you gotta do. I was actually so terrified doing this. I never AFK, and AFKing in hardcore, it's not good. It's not good. I sat here for the entire hour watching it. Wow. Okay, now it is time to fill in the structure of the farm. And while we're doing this farm is pretty much gonna produce all the prismarine I could ever use. Yo, I have already waterlogged this platform, and we have a thunderstorm. Let me see if I can get rid of the torches and kill some creeper here. I want to test it. Okay, got him. That one over there, got him. Okay, here we go, here we go, here we go. Yes! Yo, I got them all. The thunderstorm lasted for like 30 seconds, but this thing works. We have a proof of concept. Let's get another one. Zombie hat, nice. Yo, the structure's really taking shape, but I just realized I did something dumb. I just had to remove all the torches when the thunderstorm started, and that wasted a bunch of time. So we need a better system that I can automatically turn on and off. So I came up with this idea. I'm carving a shape out of the top of the ocean monument, and then I'm gonna put some redstone lamps in there. with leaves on top because you can waterlog those now, so they're blast proof. And then we just need a redstone circuit underneath. It's not the cleanest redstone, but it doesn't really matter. It's fine here. I think this is gonna work. Now we just gotta decide on the final shape of the project, because initially I thought it was gonna be an ocean monument thing with a roof that was waterlogged. But then somebody in chat had a cool suggestion. Since we're getting the mob heads here, it would be pretty cool if this was like an arena. So I located some spots for pillars. Yeah, I think this is very, very cool. Okay, that's a good layout, but the sides of the structure are super boring. So I need to add some details here. Okay, and then walls. Yeah, I think this is gonna work. And then we need something around the outside. Guys, I like this, but I also have an issue. The circle in the water, it's too small. It looks like the building is just... it's being hugged by the sea. I don't want it. It needs more space. Okay, am I really gonna do this? Yeah, I'm really gonna do this. We need to drain more water. Okay, I'll just start with a wider circle of snow blocks around it and see if I like this shape. So the idea behind it is that we need to be able to see more of the supporting pillars. And I think this works. Yeah, this is good. Okay, this is going to be a big draining operation, so I need to be a little bit more serious about it than last time. Sponges are not going to cut it here. I need redstone machines. Okay, the first one is this weird zero-tick setup with pistons. The top piston resets the one underneath, and that makes it so you can drop sand into the ocean really quickly. Check this out. Okay, to make sure we can keep going, I need to remove this kelp really quickly. And then we just need to place sand walls, and sand walls, and sand walls, and more sand walls. Alright, that's what I'm talking about. Now, let's set up the redstone drainers. Okay, and then these are honey, so they don't break the return station on the other side. Let's see if it works. Oh yes, it's flying back. So these push themselves down, and they're gonna remove a lot of water, but the water at both edges is gonna stay there. So we don't initially see it until we use the sponges, and then we should see massive areas of water just flowing down. I swear, this is the most amount of progress that I've ever made where you can't see that I did anything. We need to make smaller sections at the ends here to remove the last bit of water. Okay, I got the first area entirely drained. Let's take this sand wall down, and we remove the machine, and then I can clear this last bit of water, and that's the first bit of dry ground. It had been so long ago since I drained an ocean monument. Honestly, I swear, this is one of the most fun things you can do in Minecraft. I love this project. Okay, let's put the sponges here, and then that should flow the last bit of water down. I think we have mostly all of it done. Okay, awesome. We just have the sections on either side left, and then I gotta start smoothing out the terrain a bit. I want this to look as if the building is magically pushing out all the water. Like, it's a sinkhole. Think of a sinkhole. Okay, I got the last bit of water done. It's time to really start mining now. There's no set plan for this. I don't have any outlines or reference. I just need to make sure that the terrain gently slopes down towards the middle. Okay guys, I think I just about got it. I'm mining out the last section. Let's remove the sand walls now. Okay, that was kinda sick. Now we just gotta build the base of the remaining pillars. And to make sure that the structure is a bit less isolated, I'm gonna make this entrance walkway with supporting pillars as well. Okay, then we put some railings and details on there, some sea lanterns. Then these big cool arches at the front end to really make it stand out. And now I need to finish the arena part. I'm gonna put these glowing spheres here. Okay, that looks cool. Now we need a structure around that. Then I added some details on the outside of the pillars, as well as some chains to finish up the Colosseum vibe in the middle. And I think we got it. This project has taken like all of 300 days. That's 100 hours of work for an entire project. That's like nothing. I did a really good job here. We just need to put some finishing touches. I'm gonna put some sea lanterns here. That lights up the area a little bit. I really like the beacon beams in the middle as well. And then I'm gonna build a conduit right here in the middle. Yo guys, I accidentally made it so that the top 2 layers of water of a conduit can spawn guardians. You know what? I'm gonna leave it like this, and I'm also gonna name tag a couple, because the farm is doing absolutely crazy, so just having 3 or 4 guardians in the mob cap is not gonna break it at all, and it gives it that Ocean Monument feel back. Oh god, these guys do damage. I better get out of here. Yo, this is really cool. Right as I was finishing up the project, we got a thunderstorm, so I got to show the new Mob Hat Arena Monument in action. This thing is insane. In a single thunderstorm, I got about 30 mob hats. This is so much fun to do. As always, the last 100 days of this 1000-day arc were a bit of a blur as I tried to put the finishing touches on all the structures that still needed work. I removed all of the hanging signs to fix the lag issues. I added an archery range right next to the farm. And then it was time to work on one last big project inside of the castle as I made a secret hidden treasury room underneath the dungeons. With the diamond blocks in place in the treasury, the castle was now done, and from nothing at all, we had turned it into something that looked quite miraculous. A base that we can now walk all the way up to, but also down to bedrock, with many cool things to explore, and a castle that just makes sense. Like, this could be an actual thing where people lived. Many odd things happened, and many cool places were built. But I wasn't quite done yet. It was still time for that final sprint to day 5000. By now, it is day 4955, and I'm literally in that last rush to finish the remaining things and end strong in day 5000. I decided to cover up the squid farm because this looked terrible, and now it's kind of hidden in the terrain again. And then I went back to the mountain because there's one thing that you guys have been asking for the longest time. The mountain still looks a little bit out of place, and it is time to fix that. So I started adding some trees around the outside, and over time, we'll have to blend it into the terrain by making smaller and less trees going out from the mountain. We'll get to that though, because now day 5000 was creeping up on us. And that meant there was one last thing left to be done before we could properly celebrate. I had to go to the nether to get more netherite so I could retire my armor set. After all, this one has kept us safe for 5000 days. It is time for some new threats. After figuring out cool names for all the new armor pieces, I put the old set on an armor stand and took the new one with me. Because it was time to celebrate the biggest milestone yet. I had made it to 5000 days, and what an incredible journey it has been. Putting everything together in this one video was an absolutely crazy experience. I mean, take a look at this. This is only what happened in the last 1000 days. Between day 4000 and 5000, my base truly transformed from the concept of a base to a full base with interiors everywhere. And the crazy thing about it, at this point, that is only 20% of our journey. So it's truly not that much of a surprise that as I was walking towards the firework control room for the 5000 day celebration, the entire journey flashed before my eyes. I hope you enjoyed the journey so far. I, for one, am really proud of what we have accomplished, and I'm also super stoked to be slowly entering the next chapter of this world. In this video, there are a million things that I haven't been able to show you, so if you want to see the world in a little bit more detail, you can check it out in the world tour video here, or you can go to my Patreon to get early access to the world download. You will all get the world download for free when I eventually end the series, but let's hope that's not for a long time. Thank you for watching this story about a world that should have never existed.